sa maghabong pagtatrabaho, pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay. Narito na ang sagot mga katropa, ang super manok lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-analyze ka dahil sa tender juicy na jumbo pa at siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay niyo mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Similuan at bumili na, baka maabusan ka, katropa.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, huwag puro lang kayo aksi at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam para sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga katropa! I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube, ang Millennial Online TV.
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo. Sa Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV.
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online naranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Ako inyong lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, ang inyong kabarangay dito sa Millennial Online TV. Abangan ang ating mga kaganapan dito sa ating bansa at abangan din ang panunungkol ni Kapitan sa ating Dalaw Barangay. Paano nyo kami mapapanood? I-type lamang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Like, subscribe, at share na. Okay mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ako po si Gazi Sarip, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng balita sa bagong milenyo na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na tunghayan ang aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa dito sa Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa! Mga katropa, ako po si Jim Pahayag, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng mga balita sa bagong milenyo na nag-aanyaya sa inyo matunghayan ng aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lang sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Now, we are
Talakayin,
Biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.2
rebisahin,
billion.
opinyon, malawakin, aksyonan, Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na mga katropa!
Ayun, no? Ayun, magandang hapon, Pilipinas! Aloy, naku, alas 5:12 na po ng hapon. Pasensya na po kayo mga katropa dahil kami may pinuntahan kanina pang umaga ng aking sidekick dyan po sa lalawigan ng Bulacan. Dahil po nagkaroon ng isang pagtatanim ng mga mangrove o bakawan po na tinatawag doon po sa mga fish pond doon sa Marilao, Bulacan sa barangay Nagbalon. At syempre pinangunahan po yan ni BIFA Region 3 Director Willie Cruz. At syempre kaakibat si Marilao, Bulacan Mayor Ricardo Silvestre. Yan po bukas mga kaibigan, itutunghay natin sa inyo yung full video na ginawa nilang instructions doon sa mga volunteer na taga DNR at LGU at gayon din sa mga taga BIFAR, no, yung pagtatanim ng bakawan o mangrove. Alam nyo, yung ano yan, bata ako, natatandaan ko yan, nung naliligo kami doon sa may parting Muson sa Malabon, kasunod po nun, puro mga fish pond. Yan yung tinatawag na kala mo, bamboo, kung tawagan namin bamboo. Pagka binunot mo yung bunga, gumaganon, tumutunog siya. Kaya natutuwa kami, kaya pumupunta kami noon, kung tawagin namin nung araw yung bundok-bundukan. At yun, pumipitas kami noon, yun ang ginagawa namin noon. Pinatutunog lang namin yun, tinatanggal namin yung bunga dahil tumutunog. Pero ngayon po, matanda na tayo, ngayon natin nalaman na yan pala kailangan alagaan at payabungin, palaguin yung mangrove na yan o bakawan. Kasi may fish pond doon sa Muson Malabon, kaya kailangan may mangrove. Dahil malaking tulong ho yan sa mga isda at syempre para din sa kalikasan. Okay, nako mga kaibigan, alas 5:14 na po ng hapon, oras sa buong kapuluan. At syempre sa inyo na ang programang Tropa. At syempre po ako pa rin inyong magiging kasama, kakwentuhan, ka-jamming, ka-barangay, ka-tropa, ka-TFC, Rosel Lopez. Alam nyo, yun, mahirap ang may fish pond. Kasi kung ikaw ay gusto mo maghanap buhay ng isang mangingisda, no, fish pond, malaki pala magagastos mo dyan. Kaya kailangan, bukod sa kung ikaw ay walang pera at walang puhunan, talagang dapat aalalayan ka naman ng Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources o BIFAR. Pero ang ibibigay ko lang tulong siyempre sa inyo yung mga fingerlings na libre, no? Yung halimbawa maghuhulog kayo ng tilapia, bangos, etc., alimango, di ba? So yun po. Pero pagdating po sa fish pond mismo, yun mismong mga pilapil, yun, kayo po gagastos doon siyempre. Hindi na po sakop yan ng BIFAR. Yung lang po mga fingerlings, o kaya yan, mga lambat, bangka, demotor, etc. Yan, pwedeng sagutin. Pero yung mismong fish pond, yung palaisdaan mismo, inyo yan. Baka mamaya gusto nyo lahat sa BIFAR manggagaling, ano ang sa iyo? Di ba? Di lupa lang, yung mismo palaisdaan. Kaso ang rehabilitasyon po niyan, napakalaki ho pala. Dahil kailangan yung pilapil mo matibay, mataas. Hindi po pwedeng kakapiranggot dahil, naku po, kapag kakapiranggot, wala, baka mamatay yung mga ihuhulog mong isda, tsaka masisira yung iyong fish pond. Okay, at parang napakasarap maging mangingisda. Lalo na kung makikita mo yung mga huli mo, ayan, tataba, ang lalaki, tumitimbang halimbawa, halimbawa, ang isang piraso tumitimbang ng kulang 1 kilo, aba, hayahay ka na nun. Ilan ang inihuhulog sa palaisda ng fish pond na mga fingerlings, maliliit. Libo ho yun, di ba? Depende sa laki ng iyong fish pond. Okay, so mga kaibigan, pero bukas siya na itutungkay natin yung full video at baka mamaya may-upload natin yung news report o news update yung nasabing ginawang pagtatanim ng mangrove dyan po sa Marilao, Bulacan. Mamaya po yun. Pero bukas, yun pong full video ng nasabing programa. Okay, nako mga kaibigan, alas 5:16 na po. Pero ngayon, teka, hindi ko pa nakikita yung ating mga tropa peeps na nakatutok sa Millennial Online TV, no? Dahil yung isang monitor ko po medyo meron pang ine-export na news story. Yun nga po yung kanina doon sa nagbalon sa Marilao, Bulacan. Ayan, natapos na. Sandali lamang po at para makita ko na kung sino yung ating mga tropa peeps na nakatutok. No? Hindi kasi ko nakikita pa kanina. So ngayon ko palang makikita. Ayan, ngayon pala. Sandali lamang po. Ayan. Sandali lang, ha. Ayan na. Nakikita ko na. Ayan na. Ito na. Sandali na lang po. Ayan. Yan, nakikita ko na. O, ayun. Ayun, ang unang nakita ko po na nakatutok ngayon ay si Ate Luningning Pahayag ng Barangay Bayan-Bayanan dyan sa Malabon. Magandang hapon sa iyo, Ate Luningning, at welcome sa programang Tropa ng MOL TV. Millennial Online, kaya MOL TV. At syempre po yung iba nating mga Dabber Cats, yung iba nating mga katropa peeps na nakatutok ngayon, abay magandang hapon po sa inyo. Kahit na hindi ko pa kayo nakikita dito sa aking monitor, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Siguro mamaya after at saka ako makikita. Okay, at kahapon mga kaibigan ay formal lang pinroklama ng mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso sa ginawang joint session ng Senate at ng Congress of the Philippines ang ating bagong presidente ng bansa, no? Siyempre po si President-elect Bongbong Marcos at Vice President SARA Duterte. Ay napakarami pong natuwa at marami pong nagalak, no? Dahil yan na pong inaasahan ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Well, para mapanood natin mga kaibigan, yung hindi pa nakakapanood ng proklamasyon kahapon, abay itutunghay po natin ngayong araw, no? Yung ginawang proklamasyon kahapon, doon po sa magkatandem na unit team na si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. at Vice President-elect Sara Duterte Carpio. So mga kaibigan, panoorin po natin, huwag kayong kukurap at maganda po, no? Ang naging senaryo doon po sa joint session ng Senate at ng Congress of the Philippines. Panoorin po natin.
House, may I solicit the approval of our members of the Joint Committee report on the canvass of votes for the presidential and vice presidential candidates in the May 9, 2022 elections and the accompanying resolution of both houses. Those who are in favor of the approval of the Joint Committee report and the adoption of its accompanying resolution of both houses, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. On the part of the House, the Joint Committee report is approved and its accompanying resolution of both houses is accepted. The House Secretary General and the Senate Secretary are directed to submit the Joint Committee report and the accompanying resolution of both houses to the joint public session immediately after the members of the Joint Committee have signed the report.
Thank you very much, my dear co-chair. On the part of the Senate, before just an announcement, right after we adjourn this joint committee meeting, we will resume our joint session of Congress. So on the part of the Senate, the joint committee meeting is hereby adjourned.
On the part of the House, the joint committee meeting is adjourned.
The picture na kanina. Walang makapasok. At may stop boss.
Okay, inanunsyo na po mga kababayan ni Senator Mig Zubiri ang pag-adjourn ng Joint Committee Report upang ipresenta at aprobahan na ng plenaryo kasama ng resolusyon ng mataas at mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso para sa deklarasyon ng mga nanalo sa canvassing. At ito po'y pag naaprobahan ay maaari na pong simulan ang pagproklama ng Kongreso sa mga nanalong presidente at vice-presidente. Kanina po ay nakita natin ang pagdalo ni dating First Lady at ang ina ni Presumptive President Bongbong Marcos na si dating First Lady Imelda Marcos, katabi ang may bahay ni Presumptive President na si Attorney Lisa Araneta Marcos.
Si former First Lady Imelda Marcos, kita natin yung kanyang suot, ang ganda ng kanyang Filipiniana o terno. Something like a color na pink or peach yung suot mo kanina ni Mrs. Imelda Marcos, dati pong First Lady. At yun naman pong si Attorney Liza, ay ang kanya pong suot ay yung gray din na Filipiniana na terno. Yan po sila. Si Mrs. Imelda Marcos, dati pong First Lady. At yan rin po, nakikita niyo po katabi niya. I think navy blue or something, a little grayish po yung terno o Filipiniana po. Ngayon na pong First Lady. Incoming First Lady.
Incoming
diba?
First Lady.
Incoming First Lady. Yan po ang may bahay ni incoming President-elect Bongbong Marcos.
Pero well, sa mga panayam kay Attorney Lisa Marcos, nung tinanong siya, Dayan, kung siya ba'y tatanggap ng anumang pwesto sa gobyerno, ang sinabi niya, pipiliin niyang maging alam mo, yung silent first lady, yung hindi na siya makikialam sa mga desisyon o pag-upo pa ng anumang posisyon diyan sa gobyerno, no? Kung maalala natin sa ating kasaysayan na si dating First Lady Imelda Marcos ay naging aktibo, no? Lalo na sa mga civic work nung panahon na nanunungkulan ng kanyang asawa na si dating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos.
And sometimes nga may mga pagkakataon noon, nung panahon ng First Lady din si Mrs. Imelda Marcos, di ba, nagpupunta pa rin siya sa ibang bansa in representation ng ating ng Pilipinas para makipag-usap rin sa ibang mga world leaders. Now, this time, under the administration of incoming President-elect Bongbong Marcos, mali mo naman, baka naman magkaroon pa ng pagbabago, di ba? Kasi nung campaign din, nung umpisa, napapansin din natin, hindi pa masyadong sumasama si Attorney Liza. Pero towards the end, nakikita na natin siya, kasama yung buong pamilya rin ni Bongbong Marcos, sumasama na rin sila sa kampanya. So we'll never know, di ba, Audrey? Baka magkaroon ng importanteng papel din ang incoming First Lady.
Pero itong nakalipas na kampanya, Dayan, kung maalala natin, naging napakalaki ng papel ni Attorney Lisa Marcos dahil siya mismong pinuno ng strategy ng kampo ng BBM campaign group. So yung mga pagpunta nila, pagbubuo ng mga caravan, pagharap sa masang Pilipino, ay isa siya sa mga talagang nanguna doon. Ngayon, ang question na lang natin mga kababayan, kung ang kanya bang biyanan ay gagayahin niya, no? Si First Lady Imelda Marcos sa pagiging aktibo. Kung maalala natin sa kasaysayan, napakaraming investment na naipasok ni First Lady Imelda Marcos noon dito sa ating bansa. Kung maalala mo ang kwento nung LRT, no? Kagaya ng investment na yan ay nagsimula sa pakikipag-ugnayan ni dating First Lady Imelda Marcos sa ibang bansa. Kaya tayo ang isa sa mga bansa sa Asia na nagkaroon ng mga ganyang klase ng transportasyon.
Okay, maiba naman ako, pero pinag-uusapan mo rin yung tungkol sa mga mahalagang papel o important roles sa parating pong administrasyon. Prior the proclamation, marami na pong naanunsyo si incoming President-elect Bongbong Marcos na mga magiging miyembro po ng kanyang gabinete. Una niya pong naanunsyo, siyempre, ang magiging papel ni Vice President, incoming Vice President-elect Inday Sara Duterte, na based on tradition po ay talagang nabibigyan rin po talaga ng cabinet post. Pero this time, it's new na normally kasi di ba parang housing ang binibigay sa mga VP but this time it's a Department of Education ang ipinagkatiwala po ni incoming President-elect Bongbong Marcos kay VP Inday Sara Duterte. So yan po yung unang naanunsyo, DepEd. At naanunsyo na rin po ang incoming Executive Secretary, ang si Attorney Vic Rodriguez, na una na rin pong naging matagal na rin pong tagapagsalita ng kampo po ni incoming President-elect Bongbong Marcos, na anunsyo na rin po at tinanggap na rin po ni Susan Ople ang pagiging kalihim naman po ng Department of Migrant Workers, na anunsyo na rin, di ba, yung magiging kalihim sa Department of Labor and Employment si incoming DOLE Secretary Benny Laguesma, na anunsyo na rin po ang sa DOJ, si Representative Boying Remulla, at ang DILG Secretary incoming, DILG Secretary Attorney Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. At ito nga, very interesting yung anunsyo tungkol sa NEDA. Kasi sinasabi natin yung pagkakaisa, yung unity, ang susunod pong NEDA Secretary is incoming NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, na una na rin pong naglingkod under the Aquino administration.
Okay, sa punto pong ito, ating natutunghayan ang live na kuha mula sa plenary hall ng Batasang Pambansa. Dumating na po si Senate President Tito Soto, gayon na rin po si House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco upang simulan ang programa para sa proklamasyon ng mga nanalong Pangulo at Pangalawang Pangulo.
Very interesting na si Senate President Tito Soto ay siya rin magproproklama kay VP Inday Sara Duterte na malala natin ay nakatunggali na rin sa same position na yun. Some are asking kailangan ba mag-inhibit siya ni Senate President Tito Soto? No need. Kasi hindi naman yun makaka-apekto sa mangyayaring proklamasyon po dyan ngayon in a while, dyan po sa Batasang Pambansa.
Okay, kagaya na sinabi mo kanina, yung initial line-up ng mga bubuo sa gabinete ng susunod na administrasyon ay lahat ng binanggit mo, kagaya nila dating MMDA Chair Ben-Hur Abalos, nila Representative Boying Remulla, na tatay yung DOJ Secretary, ay nandyan sa plenaryo ngayon at sasaksihan din itong proklamasyon.
Public session is resumed.
On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint public session is resumed.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, on the part of the Senate, I move for the consideration of the report of the Joint Committee and its accompanying resolutions of both houses. Number 1, proclaiming the candidates obtaining the highest number of votes for President and Vice President.
Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Consideration is in order.
Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move for the consideration of the report of the Joint Committee and its accompanying resolution of both Houses. Number 1, proclaiming the candidates obtaining the highest number of votes for President and Vice President.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the report of the Joint Committee and the resolution of both Houses. Number 1.
Report of the Joint Committee for the canvassing of votes for the presidential and vice presidential candidates in the May 9, 2022 elections. Resolution of both Houses. Number 1, entitled Resolution of both Houses approving the report of the Joint Committee declaring the results of the national elections held on May 9, 2022 for the office of the President and Vice President and proclaiming the duly elected President and Vice President of the Philippines.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. May be recognized to sponsor the said measure.
Majority Leader is recognized as Chair of the Joint Panel.
Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues in the Senate, the House of Representatives, ladies and gentlemen, what we have witnessed in the last national and local elections, for me, was one of the most credible, orderly, and peaceful in our elections history. Don't just take it from me, as this is reflected in the assessments of different media outfits, election watchdogs, and civil society organizations, including the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting. Just more than 2 weeks after the May 9, 2022 elections, we are about to proclaim the duly elected President and Vice President of the Republic. Quite fast indeed. The result of this election is historical in several ways. First, it has the highest number of votes cast in our nation's election history, with an 82% voter turnout, totaling 55,197,306 votes. Second, Mr. President, since the 1987 Constitution this is the first time that we elected a majority president and vice president. A phenomenon indeed in a multi-party system under a presidential Republican government. The duly elected president garnered a total of 58.77% of the total votes cast in the last May 9, 2022 elections. And the duly elected vice president gathered a total of 61.53% of the total votes cast. And third, the canvassing of Congress in joint public session took only 2 days to finish. And I would like to take note that this canvassing is the fastest in our nation's history of elections. Another milestone for Philippine Congress. However, we would like to emphasize, we did not sacrifice transparency and the authenticity of the results for a speedy count. The process was hastened due to several factors. Early on in the canvassing of the Joint Committee, we appreciated the manifestation of the counsels of several presidential and vice presidential candidates. Notably, the counsel for Vice President Leni Robredo, a presidential candidate who manifested that they have a continuing manifestation that they interpose no objection for the canvassing of all COCs brought before us in this body. The same manifestation was made of record by the counsel of Vice Presidential candidate Senator Kiko Pangilinan and Presidential candidate Mayor Isko Moreno. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a magnificent show of statesmanship on their part, and we sincerely thank them for that. It shows the importance of uniting as a people and healing the emotional wounds brought about by this very emotionally charged election. The Joint Committee consensuously examined the certificates of canvass, both the manually transmitted and the printed copy of the electronically transmitted COCs, and painstakingly determined their authenticity and due execution, as required by law and by our rules. The canvassing went on smoothly, except for some instances when the manually prepared certificates of canvass were not found in the ballot boxes submitted to us or submitted to the Senate President by several provincial election supervisors and city election officers. Thus, under our rules, we summoned the concerned provincial election supervisors and city election officers to explain the non-inclusion of the COCs in their submission to the Senate President and asked them to locate the COCs and bring them henceforth to Congress. I have in many times in public expressed my frustration for such failure during the proceedings of the Joint Committee. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, in this juncture, I would like to urge the Commission on Elections to take remedial steps to ensure that these glaring mistakes would not happen again, hopefully in 2028. For the record, the Joint Committee did not want to sacrifice the accuracy and the count, nor disenfranchise any province nor LGU from this historic process. That is why we even waited for the results of the special elections of Lanao del Sur and several overseas absentee voting areas to complete the canvass of votes. Another factor which truly helped make the canvassing of votes so efficient, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, was the masterful handling of my co-chair, the Honorable House Majority Leader Martin Romualdez. I would like to say this, ladies and gentlemen. He never left his post throughout the proceedings, not even for lunch, not even for dinner, not even a bathroom break. He truly leads Congress by example, and I salute you, sir. I would like to also take this opportunity to thank the hardworking members of this joint committee, my colleagues from the Senate, Senator Nancy Binay, Senator Franklin M. Drilon, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Ralph Recto, Senator Grace Poe, Senator Pia Cayetano, and our alternate members, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Coco Pimentel, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, and our colleagues as well from the House of Representatives, Congressman Jesus Crispin Remulla, Representative Abraham Tolentino, Representative Christine Singson Mihan, Representative Sharon Garin, Representative Manuel Manix Dalipe, Representative Juliet Ferrer, and alternate members, Representative Juan Pablo Bondoc, Representative Johnny Pimentel, Representative Alfredo Garbin, and Representative Stella Kimbo. With that, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, it is my distinct honor and privilege to sponsor the report of the Joint Committee of the Canvass of Votes for presidential and vice presidential candidates in this historic May 9, 2022 national and local elections. The Joint Committee, Your Honors, canvassed a total of 171 COCs from provinces, highly urbanized cities, local absentee voting, overseas absentee voting, and found all of them to be authentic and duly executed. The results, Your Honor, of the canvass shows that Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. obtained the highest number of votes for the position of president, garnering a total of 31,629,783 votes. With a lead of 16,594,010 votes over the second placer. On the other hand, Madam Inday Sara Zimmerman Duterte obtained the highest number of votes for vice president with 32,208,417 votes, with a lead of 22,879,210 votes over her closest opponent. Allow me to add, Mr. President, matagal-tagal na rin po ako sa politika at maraming eleksyon na rin po ang aking napagdaanan, both local and national elections. At ngayon lang po ako nakakita nitong dalawang kandidato kapag nagmo-motorcade ay kilo-kilometro po ang taong nag-aabang. Sa kainitan ng araw at hindi alintana ang init. May mga rallies din po kami na kasaganan ay nag-uulan at nananatili po ang tao. Yan ang masasabi natin, umulan na tumaraw, man ay kasama pa rin po natin ang ating mga kababayan. May mga kaugnayan po tayo na pamilyang ang nag-aabang at nagdadala pang sariling baon para sa kanilang tanghalian. Mga galing sa kanayunan, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, talagang nakakamangha at ngayon ko pulang nasaksihan na ganyan na pagtanggap sa ating mga kababayan sa ating dalawang kandidato. In this election, truly, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, President-elect Bongbong Marcos and Vice President-elect Sara Duterte were truly rock stars. However, the greater task of the victors today is to unite our countrymen for nation building. That begins today. The way this weighs heavy on their shoulders. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, Ecclesiastes 3 says, there is a time for everything. For everything there is a reason, and a time for every matter under heaven. Today, let me urge our kababayans, sa ating mga kababayan na nakikinig po na yun, that it is a time to heal from this divisive campaign. It is a time to respect the will of the majority of our electorate. And most importantly, it is a time to unite for the welfare and progress of our people and rally behind our flag and our country. Mr. President, with an overwhelming victory of our President-elect Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. and Vice President
Inday Sara Duterte, I am convinced that the Filipino electorate heeded the clarion call to unite for progress and to get out of the suffering caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is a resounding affirmation of the Filipinos' desire to move forward and jumpstart our economy. And finally, today is a triumph of our democracy. Mabuhay ang ating demokrasya. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Speaker, may I be recognized to sponsor the report of the Joint Committee.
The Majority Leader and Chairperson of the House Panel of the Joint Committees is recognized to deliver the sponsorship speech.
Mr. Senate President, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, guests, ladies and gentlemen, the joint public session of Congress to canvass the votes for the duly elected President and Vice President in the elections of May 9, 2022, is honored and privileged to submit its report to the honorable members of the Senate and the House of Representatives in joint public session. Pursuant to the constitutional mandate of Congress and the instruction of the joint session of Congress, the Joint Committee convened on May 24, 2022 to canvass and tally the votes for the President and the Vice President. After just a day of canvassing, the task had been completed and we were set to proclaim the duly elected President and Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. The proceedings of the 2022 joint public session has been the fastest canvassing of the presidential and vice president elections results in the country since it adopted the automated election system. Foremost, due recognition must be given to the members of the Joint Committee who work round the clock to canvass the votes in order to proclaim the winners in the soonest possible time without sacrificing accuracy and fairness. The Senate panel headed by the Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Migs F. Zubiri, Senator Maria Lourdes Nancy S. Binay, Senator Franklin M. Drilon, Senator Amy R. Marcos, Senator Grace L. Poe, Senator Ralph G. Recto, Senator Pia S. Cayetano as members, and Senator Manuel Lito M. Lapid, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Aquilino Coco III, Senator Ronaldo Bato de la Rosa as alternate members. Likewise, we also take note of the diligence of the members of the House panel. Representative Jesus Crispin C. Remulla, Representative Abraham Bambol N. Tolentino, Representative Christine Singson Mihan, Representative Sharon S. Garin, Representative Manuel Jose Manix Dalipe, Representative Juliet Marie de Leon Ferrer as members, and Representatives Juan Pablo Rimpi P. Bondoc, Representative Johnny T. Pimentel, Representative Alfredo Jr. A. Garbin, and Representative Stella Luz A. Kimbo as alternate members. Credit must also be given to the officers and staff of the Commission on Elections who were able to immediately respond to the directives of the Joint Committee to explain the missing physically delivered COCs. The concerned Provincial Board of Canvassers, through their provincial election supervisors, were able to explain before the Joint Committee through virtual communication the whereabouts of the COCs. The chairpersons proceeded with the canvassing of the electronically transmitted COCs and required provincial election supervisors to submit the actual original copies of the COCs. We also commend the members of the Secretariat and the Joint Committee, both from the Senate and the House of Representatives, for their support and assistance, and the members of the media who were with us throughout the proceedings. We also express our gratitude and appreciation to the counsels of the candidates who have manifested the graciousness of their respective candidates in recognizing the integrity of this election. Indeed, the healing of the country has begun, and we urge everyone to unite as a nation. Finally, credit is due to the more than 55 million Filipinos out of more than 66 million registered voters who, amidst the threat of the COVID-19, braved the long queues to exercise their right of suffrage, resulting in a record-breaking 83.11% voter turnout. Indeed, our democracy is alive and vibrant. The ever-growing political interest shown by our electorate is symbolic of the people's clamor for change, prosperity, and progress. The Joint Committee canvassed a total of 171 COCs. 132 COCs were electronically transmitted to the consolidated canvassing system by the Board of Canvassers of the provinces, cities, and overseas absentee voting countries. 39 COCs were physically delivered to the Senate of the Philippines from the Special Board of Canvassers for overseas absentee voting, local absentee voting, and detainee voting. With all the 171 COCs tallied, Senator Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. and Davao City Mayor SARA Zimmerman Duterte obtained the highest number of votes among the candidates for President and Vice President, respectively. Senate Marcos Jr. received 31,629,783 votes, or a lead of more than 16,593,010 votes over his nearest rival, Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo. For the Vice Presidency, Mayor Sara Duterte received 32,208,417 votes and had a margin of over 22,879,210 votes over her closest rival, Senator Francis Nepomuceno Pangilinan. The 2022 electoral campaign period has been polarizing, with the country reeling from the impact of a global pandemic and other major calamities and disasters. It was evident that the nation was divided as to what direction to take in order to move forward. But the majority has spoken. It is high time that we listen to their voice and uphold the outcome of our democratic process. Let us heal the wounds of the political division, brace ourselves for the challenges ahead, and move forward as a strong and united Philippines. Let us be prepared to work harder for the nation and give our full support to the new leadership. At the end of the day, we are all Filipinos, and we want nothing than to see our beloved nation chart its own course and ultimately triumph. On this note, I urge the members of the Senate and the House of Representatives in this joint public session to approve the report of the Joint Committee embodying the resolution of both houses proclaiming Honorable Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. as President and Honorable Sara Zimmerman as Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. Maraming salamat, mabuhay ang Pilipinas at ang buong sambayan ng Pilipino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, out of my excitement of my speech, I forgot to make the same motion. On the part of the Senate panel, Mr. President, we respectfully recommend to Congress, as the National Board of Canvassers, in joint public session, approving the report of the Joint Committee and resolution of both Houses, number 1, declaring the results of the national elections held on May 9, 2022 for the office of the President and Vice President, and proclaiming Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos and Inday Sara Zimmerman Duterte as the duly elected President and Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. I so move, Mr. President.
Majority Leader, we would like to
Yes.
entertain a formal motion for the
For the vote.
adoption of the resolution.
Yes. Mr. President, we're now ready to proceed to vote for the adoption of the report and the accompanying resolution. On the part of the Senate, I move for the approval of the report of the Joint Committee and the adoption of the accompanying resolutions of both houses. Number one.
Distinguished members of the Senate, there is a motion by the Majority Leader to approve the report of the Joint Committee and to adopt the accompanying resolution of both houses. Number one. As many as are in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
As many as are against, please say nay. The ayes have it. On the part of the Senate, the report of the Joint Committee is approved and the resolution of both houses of number one is adopted.
The Majority Leader of the House of Representatives is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we now proceed to vote for the adoption of the report and the accompanying resolution. On the part of the House of Representatives, I move for the approval of the report of the Joint Committee and the adoption of the accompanying resolution of both houses. Number one.
Distinguished members of the House of Representatives, there is a motion by the Majority Leader to approve the report of the Joint Committee and to adopt the accompanying resolution of both houses. Number one. As many as are in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye!
As many as are against, please say nay. The ayes have it. On the part of the House of Representatives, the report of the Joint Committee is approved and resolution of both houses number one is adopted.
The Leader of the Senate is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On the part of the Senate, pursuant to the adopted resolution of both houses, number one, I have the honor to move for the proclamation of the
Duly elected
President of the Republic of the Philippines and the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. It was in a blank. It was blank, Mr. President. I wanted to make sure that one was not ahead of the other. So I was worried about that blank.
I have it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. On the part of the Senate, I proclaim Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines. And SARA Zimmerman Duterte as the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines.
The Majority Leader of the House of Representatives is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives and pursuant to the adopted resolution of both houses, number one, I have the honor to move for the proclamation of Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines and Sara Zimmerman Duterte as the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. On the part of the House of Representatives, I proclaim Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines and Sara Zimmerman Duterte Carpio as the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines.
We shall now now proceed to the approval of the journal of the joint public session, and for this purpose, the Senate Majority Leader is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On the part of the Senate, I move that the Honorable Senate President be authorized to approve the journal of the joint public session, and that such approval shall be considered as the action of the Senate of the Philippines.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
The Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move that the Honorable Speaker be authorized to approve the journal of the joint public session, and such approval be considered as the action of the House of Representatives.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved.
The Senate Secretary is now directed to turn over the consolidation and canvassing system, the machine, and return all the ballot boxes, as well as all the pouches containing the certificates of canvass and election returns to the Commission on Elections. So directed.
President, on the part of the
Leader.
Senate, I move that we designate the members of the Senate panel for the Joint Committee as members of the Notification Committee.
If there is no objection, the Chair appoints the members or designates the members of the Senate panel of the Joint Committee as designated members of the Notification Committee.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move to designate the members of the House panel of the Joint Committee as members of the Notification Committee.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The members of the House panel of the Joint Committee are designated as members of the Notification Committee.
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Majority Leader.
on the part of the Senate, I move to suspend the joint public session to notify the duly elected President and Vice President of the proclamation and invite them to the rostrum.
Is there no objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. On the part of the Senate, the joint public session is suspended.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move to suspend the joint public session to notify the duly elected President and Vice President of their proclamation and invite them to the rostrum.
Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint public session is suspended. better.
After 1 year, okay. No, after no surgery, yeah. Pero she was supposed to go for a check-up. Nag-pandemic. Years na wala yung check-up.
Lalay pa, lalay pa.
Here we are, both.
Look at the steps, sir.
Hey!
On the part of the Senate, the joint public session is resumed.
On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint public session is resumed.
To our duly elected President, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., to our duly elected Vice President, Vice President SARA Zimmerman Duterte. Congratulations. You have been placed by God in this position for a reason. May He lead you into your purpose and may you live it courageously. In every step you take, may God protect you. I pray for God's blessings for your leadership, for you and your family. Congratulations.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our President-elect, Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. Maligayang pagbati po, President BBM. To our Vice President-elect, SARA Zimmerman Duterte Carpio, congratulations, Ma'am Inday. Congratulations also, and thank you to the Joint Canvassing Committee, led by House Majority Leader Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, and Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri, for the swift and fair canvassing that guaranteed the people's faith in our electoral process. Thank you to all the honorable members of the Joint Canvassing Committee and the Secretariat for your hard work and invaluable support in ensuring a historic canvassing that was finished in 2 days. Ngayong araw na ito, Congress bears witness to the unity of our country. A true partnership between the North and the South has become the unity of all corners of the country. In previous elections, Filipinos voted for President and Vice President from different parties. Finally, this year, we will learn the importance of voting for a tandem. A uni-team that can work together. A uni-team that can collaborate with each other. And a uni-team that can push for a shared national agenda. The people have spoken decisively. This is not just your sweeping electoral victory. This is an overwhelming victory for all Filipinos. This is a victory of our democracy. The gracious acts extended by the camps of other candidates yesterday, which greatly facilitated our proceedings, show the best of what Filipinos can be, even in the most divisive of elections. Nakikita po natin ngayon ang tunay na lakas sa pagkakaisa at pagsasanib puwersa. We need a catalyst, and there's no better example than the unifying force that we have seen and we will see in a government led by President BBM and VP Inday Sara. The Philippines looks forward to your leadership. It is my great honor and privilege to congratulate you both today. Mabuhay po kayo. Secretary General.
Honorable SARA Zimmerman Duterte, the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines.
May we request the duly elected Vice President SARA Zimmerman Duterte Carpio to proceed to the rostrum.
May we also request the family of the duly elected Vice President, Inday Sara Duterte, to accompany her to the rostrum, please. Senate Secretary.
Ladies and gentlemen of the 18th Congress, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines.
May we request the duly elected President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. to proceed to the rostrum.
May we also request the family of the duly elected President Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. to accompany him to the rostrum.
President, out of all the excitement, we forgot that we have to adjourn. Therefore, Mr. President, on the part of the Senate, I move that we adjourn this historic joint public session.
On the part of the Senate, this joint public session is hereby adjourned.
Majority Leader of the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House, I move to join the joint session.
On the part of the House of Representatives, this historic joint public session is adjourned.
ating pong natunghayan ang pinakahuling pangyayari dyan po sa Batasang Pambansa matapos pong opisyal na iproklama ang ika-17 o 17th President ng Republika ng Pilipinas sa katauhan po ni President-elect Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. Opisyal na rin pong naiproklama ang 17th Vice President.
I was worried about that block. Thank you, Mr.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. On the part of the Senate, I proclaim Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President. As the duly elected Vice President of
The Majority Leader of the House of Representatives is recognized. Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives and pursuant to the adopted resolution of both houses, number 1, I have the honor to move for the proclamation of Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines and SARA Duterte as the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. On the part of the House of Representatives, I proclaim Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. as the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines.
We shall now proceed to the approval of the journal of the joint public session, and for this purpose,
Would you like us to cross question?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Part of the Senate, the Senate President be authorized to approve the journal of the joint public session, and that such approval considered as the action of the Senate of the Philippines.
any objection? Chair hears none, the motion is approved.
Majority Leader is recognized. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the House of Representatives, I move that the Honorable Speaker be authorized to approve the journal of the joint public session. Such approval be considered the action of the Representative. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is
The Senate Secretary is now directed to turn over the consolidation and canvassing system, the machine, and return all the ballot boxes, as well as all the pouches containing the certificates of canvass and election returns to the Commission of Election.
Mr. President, on the part of the Senate, I move that we designate the members of the Senate panel of the Joint Committee as members of the notification committee.
If there is no objection, the chair appoints the members or designates the members of the Senate panel of the Joint Committee as designated members of the Notification Committee.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move to designate the members of the House panel of the Joint Committee as members of the Notification Committee. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The members of the House panel of the Joint Committee are designated as members of the Notification Committee. Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead.
on the part of the Senate, I move to suspend the joint public session to notify the duly elected President and Vice President of the proclamation and invite them to the rostrum.
Is there no objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved. The part of the Senate, the joint public session is suspended.
Mr. Speaker, on the part of the House of Representatives, I move to suspend the joint public session to notify the duly elected President and Vice President of their proclamation and invite them to the rostrum. Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. On the part of the House of Representatives, the joint public session is suspended.
President and Madam Vice President. We can do a group shot with all the
So sorry. So sorry, sir. Excuse me.
Yes. Tayo atras. Atras pa tayo, atras.
This is historic government.
Mask. Yan. Without mask. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, excuse po, sir. Sir, atras tayo konti, sir. Sir, attorney, atras tayo konti. Thank you.
Okay, ready.
Okay, everybody, all eyes here. The meeting.
Why? Hey!
Good.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, bigyan niyo sa ano? Sa ano? Dito kayo sa likod, mga ano dito sa likod.
Atras tayo.
Oh, mas marami to eh.
Mas marami.
Yes, yes, atras mo tayo. Sorry. Okay, all eyes here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Panalo na. Okay, smile. Okay. Thank you.
Boss, kagabi, hindi si Congressman Johnny. Kasi yung unang hindi namin makakapagkaroon.
Do we bring them there? Dapat silang naglalabas, diba?
So we all go with them, and then we come back to get the president. Okay.
Pero kailangan ko lang.
I thank you all for all your help, but now I need your help even more. But we will try to find the best people. Dito na. Bisama ka na. Speaker Martin po. Ready?
Sige.
Diretso po. Diretso lang po.
Sir, sa kabila po.
More steps.
More. Sige ma'am. Lalay pa.
For the president. Your inaugural walk. Here we are. Here we are, boss.
Look at the steps, sir. Baba.
Hey!
Congrats, sir. Congrats.
Congrats, ma'am. Ba't ka
Makita si Ma'am Sara. Atras tayo. Atras tayo. Atras tayo, Pesto. Para makita si Ma'am Sara. Clear the floor. Clear, atras.
On the part of the Senate, the joint public session is resumed.
Gilid tayo mga boss.
Part of the House of Representatives, the joint public session is resumed.
Meron na po.
Ayan.
Sir, tabi na muna.
Duly elected President, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Yan. Okay na?
Duly elected Vice President,
Okay na?
Vice President T.R.O.P.A. Congratulations. You have been placed by God in this position for a reason. May He lead you into your purpose and may you live it courageously. In every step you take, may God protect you. I pray for God's blessings for your leadership, you and your family. Congratulations.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our President-elect, Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. Maligayang pagbati po, President BBM. To our Vice President-elect, SARA Zimmerman Duterte Carpio, congratulations, Madam Head. Congratulations also, and thank you to the Joint Canvassing Committee led by House Majority Leader Ferdinand Martin Romualdez and Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri for the swift and fair canvassing that guaranteed the people's faith in our electoral process. Thank you to all the honorable members of the Joint Canvassing Committee and the Secretariat for your hard work and invaluable support in ensuring a historic canvassing that was finished in 2 days. Ngayong araw na ito, Congress bears witness to the unity of our country. A true partnership between the North and the South that has become the unity of all corners of the country. In previous elections, Filipinos voted for President and Vice President from different parties. Finally, this year, we will learn the importance of voting for a tandem, a unity that can work together, a unity that can collaborate with each other, and a unity that can push for a shared national agenda. The people have spoken decisively. This is not just a sweeping electoral victory. This is an overwhelming victory for all Filipinos. This is a victory of our democracy. The gracious acts extended by the camps of other candidates yesterday, which greatly facilitated our proceedings, showed the best of what Filipinos can be, even in the most divisive of elections. Nakikita po natin ngayon ang tunay na lakas sa pagkakaisa at pagsasaging puwersa. You need a catalyst, and there is no better example than the unifying force that we have seen and we will see in a government led by President BBM and VP Inday Sara. The Philippines looks forward to your leadership. It is my great honor and privilege to congratulate you both today. Mabuhay po kayo. Secretary General.
Honorable SARA Zimmerman Duterte, the duly elected Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines.
Vice President SARA Zimmerman Duterte Carpio to proceed to the House.
Thank you sa inyo.
Okay, great. Go na. Go. 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 Step by step. Go.
Congrats again,
The Senate Secretary.
Ladies and gentlemen of the 18th Congress, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., the duly elected President of the Republic of the Philippines.
May we request
Sir. Di ba kita? Sir, sarap. Si Kopol. Sir, labas. Yan. Si Irene. Yeah, okay na. Mahala na sir, si Robin. Dami siksik. Ako marami ka naman kanina. Marami ka naman.
Okay. Si Presidente muna. Yeah.
Nakapanaka kasi kanina eh. Hila na. Tara.
On the part of the Senate, I move that we adjourn this historic joint public Speaker, on part of the House, I move to join joint session. On part of the House of Representatives, this historic joint public session is adjourned.
Thank you all very much.
And Mr. President, how are you feeling right now po? Ready, please keep quiet.
Sir, how are you feeling right now, sir?
Humbled. I am humbled because for anyone in public service or in a public life, the most valuable thing you may receive from a fellow citizen is their vote. Because embedded in that vote are their hopes and their aspirations for the future. But also embedded in that vote are the trust and the confidence that they give to you to take them to that aspirational future. And that is why to have received over 31 million votes from our countrymen is as valuable a expression of trust as can be had by anyone in public life. And so for that, I thank our people. And beyond that, I promise you that we may not be perfect, but we will always strive to perfection. Thank you very much. I congratulate all of those involved in the electoral process, the COMELEC, all our teachers, our BEI, up to the National Board of Canvass here in Congress, for what I can say is, in my experience, the best run election that we have seen, and that it has reflected truly the voice of the people and the choice of the people. So I am all inspired by this responsibility that has been given me. So I ask you all pray for me. Wish me well. I want to do well because when a president does well, the country does well. And I want to do well for this country. Thank you very much.
Sir, a few questions, sir. Sir, a few questions, sir. Sir, a few questions, sir.
Okay, so yun mga kaibigan, napanood nyo natin yung ginawang proklamasyon ng nagkaroon ng joint session ang Senate at Congress, kung saan pinoklaim nga ang bagong presidente natin, siyempre po si Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. at siyempre po si Vice President Sara Duterte Carpio. At sana nga yung sinasabi nga ni Pangulong BBM about do sa bigas na gagawin na lang 20 hanggang 30 pesos, no? Kapag ganun napakaswerte nating mga Pilipino. No? Hindi gaya nung panahon ni Cory Aquino, sabi yung galunggong do 10 piso. Yung pala 10 piso, tinik pa lang yun. Walang kasamang laman. Hindi lang nalinaw noon, hindi lang nai-elaborate na ang galunggong 10 piso na lang pero tinik lang, hindi nasabing ganon. Talagang ganon. Ito, maraming umaasa yung ating sambayanang Pilipino, no, na magiging maayos, maunlad muli ang bawat Pilipino na walang maghihirap, no, etc. Kasi nung panahon ng tatay niya, mga kaibigan, mga katropa, ay talaga namang pong mura ang bilihin, mura kuryente, mura lahat, etc. Mura. Yung noon nga, ang kending hubad na tinatawag, 5-5 Sipin mo 5 piraso na yon, iba-ibang kulay. Kending hubad. 5 centimos lang, 5 piraso. Ganong kamura ang bilihin ng araw. Ang bigas nun, hindi ho kilo, salop. Salop, ibig sabihin salop, mas malaki sa 1 kilo yun. Marami, hindi lang ho yun. Basta halos karamihan dahil nagkaroon po sila ng tinatawag na Kadiwa Center. No, meron pong Kadiwa Center na tinatawag nun. Kaya, yun nga, yung iba kasing mga, yung gas station natin, binenta. No, na tayong binenta, ginawang private tuloy. Well, ngayon pangako at nga bubuhayin yung Bataan Power Plant. At kapag nangyari yun, may magmumura na naman ang kuryente ng bawat Pilipino. Hindi katulad na ngayon, ako po, Diyos ko. Sa isang buwan, kukonsumo ka na 1,000 mahigit. Ano lang yun, refrigerator lang, etc. Paano kami aircon ka pa siyempre sa init ng panahon? Kung halimbawa sa bahay nyo marami kayo, ang ventilador marami, natural. Alam ka naman ikaw lang ang magbe-ventilador. Natural lahat, di ba? Hindi lang pwedeng ikaw. Well, tignan natin dahil yan doon sa 100 days, no, pag-upo ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos at Sara Duterte sa July 1, doon magbibilang tayo ng 100 days ng panunungkulan ng ating Pangulo kung ano na ang magiging latest update, no, sa kanyang mga pinangako, mga gagawin at maging ng ating Vice Presidente na si Inday Sara Duterte. Okay, so mga kaibigan, sa oras na 7:07 po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time, pasamantala po magpapaalam muna inyong lingkod. At muli po tayo magbabalik bukas para sa ating Friday edition ng programang Tropa. At bukas po itutungay natin yung full video ng ginawang pagtatanim, no? Pagpupunla ng mangrove doon sa may banda ng Marilao, Bulacan. At doon makikita natin yung kung paano at kung bakit ginagawa yon, no, sa bawat mangingisda. Yung mga fisher folk, yung mga may palaisdaan, kung bakit ginagawa yun, no? Malalaman natin kay Mayor Ricardo Silvestre, at BIFAR Region 3 Director Willie Cruz. Kung ano ang buti, kung anong inam nung nasabing pagtatanim ng mangrove o bakawan. Okay, muli maraming salamat sa ating mga tropa pips, kila Ate Luningning Pahayag ng Barangay Bayan-Bayanan dyan sa Malabon, kay Hiro Matsubo, yung ating ka-TFC na nasa Japan pa na nanonood. Ha? At syempre si Kuya Michael Samson, gandang hapon daw sa lahat ng viewers. At si Kuya Danigo, no? At syempre si Edgar Diesel, yung ating boss na taga Fairview dyan sa QC. At si Ate Chona sa ato, nanonood din. Ay, Ate Chona, magandang hapon. Ay, gabi. Nandiyan ka na pala. Alam ko, nakabalik ka na ng Japan eh. At, yung Kainta Journal, si Boss Nats Alforte. Yan po ang sikat na reporter po. Star reporter at sikat. Idol ko yan, dyan po sa lalawigan ng Rizal. Si Nats Alforte. At yung aking auntie, si Auntie Sweet Quijano. Magandang gabi, Ate Sweet. Tita Sweet Quijano. At maraming salamat. Okay, muli mga kaibigan, ako po yung naging kasama, ka-jamming, ka-TFC, ka-tropa, ka-barangay. Dito po sa programang Talakayin, Rebisahin, Opinyon, Palawakin, Aksyonan, Tropa. Ako po yung lingkod, Rosel Lopez. Nakasama naman natin sa technical side si Joshua Sumulat, Baltaw. Magandang gabi Pilipinas at mapayapang magdamag. Magandang gabi po.
Hanap mo ba ay Unwind Ventures? Tara nang mamangha sa mga tanawin. Ano man ang iyong travel goals? Dadalhin namin kayo. Unwind Ventures at saya. Dito lang sa Wow Biyahe. Kaya wow, di ba?
Abangan dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Mga milenyo, pagod ka na ba galing sa trabaho? At gutom na sa maghabong pagtatrabaho? Pero wala kang pagkain sa bahay? Narito na ang sagot mga katropa, ang super manok lechon. Napapawi sa inyong gutom at siguradong mapapa-analyze ka dahil sa tender juicy na jam mo pa. At siguradong malinis at bagong katay buhat sa farm. Kaya super masalasa at pangmasa pa. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Takbo na sa Super Manok Panteño Siniluan at bumili na. Baka maabusan ka, katropa.
Mga millennials, marunong na ba kayong magluto ng mga masasarap at swak sa budget na mga pagkain? Abay, wag puro lang kayo AXI at ML at puro pagkakalikot lang ng cellphone. Dapat marunong ka rin sa gawaing bahay at tulungan ang inyong mga mamsi. Kaya tara na, samahan natin ang kusinera ng bagong milenyo, si Ate J. At tuturuan tayong magluto ng mga masasarap na ulam para sa ating mga hapagkainan at swak pa sa budget. Ika nga, a delicious food on a proper price. Tara na, mga katropa! I-type lang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong mga Facebook at
Mga katropa, ako po si Randel Villados, ang online na ranista ng bagong milenyo ng Millennial Online TV na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na makikanta, makisaya at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Ako inyong lingkod, Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa, ang inyong kabarangay dito sa Millennial Online TV. Abangan ang ating mga kaganapan dito sa ating bansa at abangan din ang panunungkol ni Kapitan sa ating Dalaw Barangay. Paano nyo kami mapapanood? I-type lamang sa inyong mga cellphone, sa inyong Facebook at YouTube, ang Millennial Online TV. Ano pa hinihintay nyo mga katropa? Like, subscribe, at share na. Okay mga katropa?
Mga katropa, ako po si Gazi Sarip, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng balita sa bagong milenyo, na nag-aanyaya sa inyo na tunghayan ng aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa dito sa Millennial Online TV. I-type lamang sa inyong Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa! Mga katropa, ako po si Jim Pahayag, ang inyong tagapaghatid ng mga balita sa bagong milenyo, na nag-aanyaya sa inyong matunghayan ng aking mga pag-uulat at tumutok sa lahat ng programa ng Millennial Online TV. I-type lang sa inyong mga Facebook at YouTube ang Millennial Online TV. Nood na mga katropa!
Barangay, pangunahing unit ng pamahalaan lokal kung saan dito pinag-uusapan ang bawat sigalot ng mga residente ng bawat barangay. Dito rin pinag-uusapan ng mga piling hanggang na opisyal na barangay ang mga proyekto para sa kanilang barangay. Kumustahin natin ang panunungkulan ni Kapitan dito sa Dalaw Barangay sa Millennial Online TV worldwide, ang katropa ng bawat barangay.
Ating tinatapos ang ating pagpupulong. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo at tapos na po ang ating session. Enjoy na po tayo.
Nagbabasa ka pa ba ng dyaryo? O nakikinig ka pa ba ng radyo? Kung ngayon, lahat yan ay mapapakinggan nyo na sa inyong mga cellphone. Dahil online na tayo, mga kamilenyo, kaya manood, makinig, dito sa Millennial Online TV.
Rider, sumalpok sa
Kaya
poste ng
i-follow, like, subscribe, at i-share na mga katropa.
Now, we are
Talakayin,
Biggest destruction of dangerous drugs worth 1.
rebisahin, opinyon, malawakin, aksyonan. Kasama si Rosel Lopez, ang inyong katropa sa pagbabalita. Dito lang sa Millennial Online TV. Tutok na mga katropa!
Hi, this is Pangilari Gadon. Nananawagan ako sa ating mga katropa, no? At mga kaibigan, mga kababayan, na palaging tumutok sa
Millennial
Online TV. At yan ay pinangunahan. At yan ay pinangangasiwaan ng aking kaibigan na si Rosel. At ang mga nanunood dyan ay hindi bobo!
Pinaigting, pinalakas ang bagong News Online TV ng bagong milenyo. Millennial Online TV, ang katropa mo sa pagbabalita.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng pagaw, ay ginatang tulakaw.
Sa lahat ng bumubuo ng Millennial Online TV at sa lahat po ng sumusuporta, maraming salamat po. Millennial Online TV is now signing off.